Hello and welcome to week 3 of our business skills in social work course. I will begin by sharing my screen and reviewing the PowerPoint for this week. So during this week, we will, I'm sorry about that. My screen is frozen. Please hold. There we go. Okay, during this week, we will cover East Chapter 3 and Section 2 of Brene Brown's text. The learning outcomes for this week include identifying leadership roles in organization, examining the law of the mirror, looking over the OARS of motivational interviewing, and examining the call to courage of daring leadership. Specifically for transformational leadership, we're going to look at the roles in leadership, power, and empowerment. The leadership literature has identified many roles and skills as part of leadership. Specifically, East has identified that the roles of organizational mentorship include being a visionary or a coach or a mentor, a politician, a supervisor, a change agent, an innovator, an administrator, a manager, a fundraiser and resource developer, a boundary spanner, team leader, and a policy analysis. These are many roles that are involved and part of being a leader in social work. Fortunately, East goes further into how these roles look in an organization and how we can begin to make changes to transform leadership in these roles. We do that by utilizing our power in a constructive way. And we know that there are many different types of power. Coercive power is based on fear and the ability to punish. Reward power is based on giving a desired resource or even positive affirmations for work done. Legitimate power is based on the job or position held or even the role. Referent power comes from who you are, how well you are liked, and how people identify with you. And then there is exert power. I'm sorry, my charger is about to die for my laptop here. There we go. Exert power is the power gained from knowledge, skill, and expertise in a particular field. So being a transformational leader is knowing how to balance this power and when to use it within an organization. Our ultimate goal is about empowering, and empowerment we know is a process. It's a development of the mind. It's the ability to act and influence issues that are important to us as individuals, to groups, and even communities. It's the process by which the individuals, groups, and communities develop the capacity to act on their own behalf and to gain a sense of power in their personal, interpersonal, and environmental interactions. It is the development of this state of mind, such as feeling powerful or confident or worthy of esteem, and all that is involved in building the structure of allocating power in a way that makes others feel empowered. Community empowerment practice increases the levels of understanding, engaging, and personal power of individual citizens and is a process of engaging the head, the heart, and the soul. So that's a quick wrap up of transformational leadership for this week. Of course, you have the chapter to delve deeper. Let's go on to Brene Brown. Let's look a little bit at her call to courage, clear is kind, serving and meeting resources. Again, we see this Venn diagram that we start each week with, looking to see where does the content of this week fall into this overall diagram of what it means to dare to lead. So as you read the chapter, keep that at the forefront of your mind. Clear is Klein. I think this is one of the slides, again, that keeps coming back to my mind, that we have to be mindful that avoiding clarity is unkind. Daring leadership is clear about expectations, responsibilities, and correction. And so, looking each week at pondering the question, how kind are you in your communication, and are you clear? Daring leaders invest time in attending to their feelings and fears and setting boundaries when others are a response to their um, when others' behaviors are a response to their unaddressed fears. And that's why the breath rumbles that we have as self-care were built into this. It allows us to sit with our feelings and discomfort in the present moment and safe place and space of working through our own concerns and self-care, so that when we find ourselves in a organizational situation, we already have worked that mind muscle, and we're able to pull from that and examine our feelings in something that is positive support and with intentionality. And so we can be frustrated, that's okay, but interrupting others, that's not okay. And so understanding where and how we rumble with our feelings and how these come out in our meetings is important, and that's a part of daring leadership. And so the breath rumbles, again, will complement us in that, to help us examine our feelings with intention. One resource that she gives that I think is really helpful is the meeting minutes template. This assists us in being clear with who will do what, by when, and it's a clear practice that allows everyone to be involved in suggesting what's captured in those meeting notes, coming with a group decision of timelines and expectations. So this is a resource that I hope we are able to use in moving forward. Another concept she discussed is serving others. And daring leaders are not only transformational, but they're servant leaders. They take pleasure in leading and serving. When I think of a daring servant leader being demonstrated, I think of Chick-fil-A. Like, when you place your order, did you notice that they always say first, "How may I serve you today?" And then they take your name, and when you say thank you, they say "my pleasure." And it's just this culture of, "It is my pleasure to serve you." And I think that that's a good example of what a servant, daring, transformational leader looks like. So even changing our vocabulary and simply acknowledging that it's a privilege to serve others can demonstrate that we are transformational and servant leaders. Going into our personal growth concept this week of John Maxwell, he says that you must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. This third invaluable law of growth is the law of the mirror, and it's saying, like, look at you, value yourself, know your strengths, know what you're good at and what you bring to the table, and even what you were called to do as a social worker, and show up strong in that. And that will help others to value you, and also help you to value others, because it takes away this competition. It's sort of like, this is who I am in this space, and I'm going to show up strong, and I encourage you to do the same thing. So the personal growth plan has to do with that self image and self mirror. And how do we begin to grow that? Right? So we have to guard our self talk and notice when we're saying things to ourselves that is clearly unkind, right? And wanting to speak kindness to ourselves, guarding that self talk, stop comparing ourselves to others, moving beyond those limiting beliefs and transforming our beliefs into empowering beliefs. And some of the rumbles again, where you say, I have you go through, I belong, I am strong, I am confident. Those affirmations seem so simple, but that's how we build our esteem and begin to determine who we are and not letting those limits, those beliefs limit who we become and how we show up. It allows us then to add values to others and to do the right thing, even when it's the hard thing. And practicing this discipline daily in a specific area of our lives, like um, chipping away at the part of that critical voice that shows up and speaking back to it so that we can celebrate our own small victories. We can embrace our positive self and who we are. And maybe practicing an example that I use is a one word strategy, picking one word that describes you and putting your attention and intention on that word. For instance, I'm a creator. Right. And so I try to put that word when I'm not feeling so powerful in myself at the front. Like, I'm a creator. I create classes, I create different things, I have creativity, and reminding myself of my worth and living that out in my values. Like, how much of my time am I spending creating? And that's just a little simple example, but finding an area that you want to grow within yourself, focusing on that, reminding yourself of your strength in that, and then rewarding when you see yourself create something. Let's go on to our motivational interviewing concepts that are integrated into this business skills class. And this week we want to touch on what are called the OARs. So it's OARS of motivational interviewing, which is a acronym. The O stands for open-ended questions. And those are the questions that we ask others to give us more than just a yes or no. An example of an open-ended question is, how often are you late and how much does your attendance interfere with your job? So those sort of questions that pose um, the person to do more critical thinking, but that are non-judgmental. They should have a purpose and a direction, not asking questions just to ask questions, but to ask questions that will direct the person towards change. The A is affirmation. And so it's recognizing that motivational interviewing attempts to build clients' feelings and their empowerment of self-efficacy. So anytime that we're able to go back and focus on specific behaviors instead of their attitudes and decisions and goals of things that they've done, and using affirmations to support them is a good thing. Focus on the descriptions and not the evaluations, attending to the non-problem areas rather than the problem areas. Think of affirmations as attributing interesting qualities to others, making sure that we're celebrating those and nurturing their competence instead of pointing out their deficits. The R stands for reflections, and this involves in rephrasing statements to capture the implicit meaning of feeling of a person's statement, and it encourages this continual exploration and helping of others to understand their motivations. Like, what did that look like for you? Or what would this look like if you did this? So helping them reflect on what's going to move them towards their change. How did this behavior reflect the change that you want to see in your life? And the last one is summaries. It's communicating and that you understand and providing a little synopsis of what they said. What I hear you saying is, am I right in what you're trying to say is, and just doing a brief, concise wrapping up of the conversation. So that's a little overview of the OARs of motivational learning or motivational interviewing. And lastly, each week I try to provide you with a small case study so that you can practice what we've talked about in motivational interviewing or growth skill of an application throughout the week. So for this week, I'm asking you to consider the following 3 statements and then rewriting 2 open-ended questions related to the content. So the questions are listed, and just rephrase those doing open-ended questions just to practice your skill. So this is the end of our chapter 3 lecture overview. Of course, it's just a brief overview. Delve into that chapter. Those both of the books are great in growing our leadership, and you'll see the activities that you're doing accompany those. I hope that you are enjoying business skills in this week 3 as much as I'm enjoying journeying through with you. I'll see you next week.